My name is Noelle. It's been a while since that fateful Christmas brunch, but the memory still stings like a fresh wound. I'm sitting in my now empty apartment, the silence echoing through the rooms, and I can't help but think back to how my life took such a drastic turn. It was a Christmas morning filled with the promise of family and celebration. I was at my fiancé, Ryan Thompson's, parents' house, surrounded by the warmth of cinnamon rolls and the chatter of loved ones. Ryan and I had been engaged for 8 months, and our June wedding was all set. Venue booked, deposits paid, everything was falling into place. But then, in the middle of brunch, Ryan dropped a bombshell. My ex, Ava Reed, proposed yesterday, and I said yes, he announced, his smile as casual as if he were sharing good news about a promotion. The room went dead silent, and I felt like the ground had just opened up beneath me. I remember walking out into the backyard, the cold air hitting my face like a slap. I couldn't tell if it was Ryan's words echoing in my head or the blood pounding in my ears that was louder. It was as if my body was trying to warn me to run, to get away from this nightmare. Behind me, the sliding door opened, and Ryan's father, Henry Thompson, stepped outside. He was still wearing his holiday sweater, but his face looked years older, as if the weight of his son's betrayal had just crashed down on him. "Noelle," he said softly. "I don't know what that was." I exhaled shakily through my nose. "Neither do I." Henry came closer but didn't touch me. He just stood beside me, a silent presence, as if he didn't want to crowd me but also didn't want me to feel alone. "That's not right," he said firmly. "What he did in there, in front of everyone." I looked through the glass window into the house. I could see Ryan's mother, Grace, frozen in that strained hostess pose, a fake smile plastered on her face, her eyes sharp with worry. Ryan's sister, Lily, had a hand over her mouth, trying to hold back the shock. And Ryan, he was still sitting at the table, looking so self-assured, as if he'd done nothing wrong. "He said it like it was good news," I whispered. Henry's jaw tightened. "He's always been." He stopped, as if the word was too harsh to say. Then he tried again. "He's always needed options." That word hit me like a ton of bricks. It felt like the ugly truth that had been hiding beneath every "don't worry" Ryan had ever told me. Henry cleared his throat. "What are you going to do?" I stared at the lawn, the hedge, anything but the window. "I'm going to handle it," I said, my voice surprisingly calm. "How?" he asked. I looked at him, not with drama or threats, but simply stating a fact. "I work in corporate consulting. I know people, including people at Ava's company." Henry's eyebrows lifted slightly. "You know where she works?" "He told me 2 weeks ago," I replied. Like he was proud of her, like he wanted me to feel. "Impressed? Small?" Henry was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Noelle, don't." I cut him off before he could try to talk me out of my resolve. I'm not going to scream at him in front of his mother. I'm not going to throw a fit. I'm not going to beg for his love. Henry swallowed. "You're going to report her?" "I'm going to inform the right people," I corrected. "What they do with it is up to them." He looked like he wanted to argue, but then his expression changed. It was as if he'd finally accepted the kind of man his son could be when no one was watching. "That's harsh," he murmured. "So is announcing you accepted another woman's proposal while you're still engaged," I said. For the first time, Henry didn't look shocked. He looked resigned and nodded. "Fair enough." The sliding door opened again, and Grace called out my name, soft and pleading, trying to fix the situation like it was a simple tear in fabric. I didn't answer. Something in me had clicked, like a lock turning. I went back inside. The dining room felt stiflingly warm. Everyone's eyes snapped to me as if I'd risen from the dead. Ryan's smile faltered just a bit, like he'd expected me to break down in the backyard and come back meekly. "Where are you going?" he asked, confusion in his voice. I grabbed my coat from the chair. "Home," I said. Grace stood up. Sweetheart, please. I turned to Ryan. You stay. Enjoy brunch with your family. We'll talk later. Ryan blinked. Don't be dramatic. I looked at him properly, really looked. He wasn't scared or ashamed. He was annoyed, as if my pain was an inconvenience. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being done, I said, and I walked out before anyone could stop me. The drive home was surreal. The city looked normal, with stores playing carols and couples carrying wrapped gifts. The world kept moving, but mine had been shattered. When I got to our apartment, the first thing I saw was the Christmas tree in the corner. I decorated it alone, while Ryan hovered with a drink, giving half-hearted compliments. It was blinking now, its colored lights creating a false sense of warmth. Underneath were presents, some for him, some for me, some for us. I dropped my keys into the bowl by the door and just stood there, staring at the tree like it was a photograph of a life that no longer existed. Then I walked into my office and opened my laptop. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was angry. I realized that heartbreak didn't mean I couldn't think rationally. If Ryan thought he could collect backup plans like ornaments and switch them at will, he was wrong. I wasn't an ornament. I pulled up my contacts list. 2 years ago, at a business conference, I'd met the CEO of Ava's company, Victor Hayes. We'd exchanged business cards and kept up a professional relationship, liking each other's posts every few months. I drafted an email. It was professional, calm, and it didn't sound like revenge. It sounded like concern. I listed the facts, our publicly posted engagement photos and dates, the timeline of Ava re-entering Ryan's life, the increasing frequency of their meetings, and the shocking announcement at the Christmas brunch. I didn't call Ava names or make unfounded accusations. All I did was raise a question: should someone in senior leadership be pursuing someone else's fiancé, proposing in the middle of an ongoing engagement, and encouraging dual commitments? I attached screenshots of our engagement post, the same smile Ryan had worn at the brunch when he'd said yes to Ava. Then I printed the email and slid the pages into a red envelope. I didn't seal it, so the person opening it would know right away that it wasn't a holiday card. I wrote the address neatly and placed it under the Christmas tree, a silent reminder that sometimes the best revenge is just information in the right hands. 4 hours later, Ryan walked in like he still lived here. He kicked off his shoes, glanced at the tree, and then at me. I was sitting in the living room, waiting for him. We need to talk, I said, gesturing to the couch. He sat down like he was ready to win this argument. I know that was a lot, he began. It was, I replied. He nodded as if we were discussing the weather. But I need you to understand. I still care about you. I watched his face as he said it. People who truly care don't need to announce it as a defense. You've been wonderful, he continued, but Ava is offering me something different. What's she offering? I asked. He hesitated for a fraction of a second. Security, success, a real future, he finally said. I let his words hang in the air. And what am I offering? I asked. He gave me that look, the one he used when he wanted to be kind while being cruel. You're comfortable. You're safe. Safe? Like I'm a fallback option? I said. I nodded slowly. Then I stood up. Here's what's going to happen. I'm keeping the apartment. Your name isn't on the lease. His mouth opened and closed. You can't kick me out. We live together. We lived together, I corrected. You have 2 weeks. His face tightened. This is vindictive. This is self-respect, I said. You don't get to keep me as your safe option while you explore a different life. He stood up, his anger rising. You're being cruel. I'm being done, I said again. There's a difference. He grabbed his jacket and stormed out, slamming the door so hard that an ornament on the tree rattled. The apartment fell into silence. I stood there for a moment, listening to the echo. Then I turned to the tree. The red envelope was there, waiting, and Ryan had no idea what was inside. After Ryan left, the apartment felt like a hotel room after checkout. The layout was familiar, but the silence was strange. I sat on the couch for a long time, not crying but thinking. I'd expected to fall apart, but instead, I was filled with a cold resolve. The next day, Ryan came home 4 hours later than he'd said he would. I was sitting in the same spot, waiting for him. "Oh," he said, like he was surprised to see me. "We need to talk." I gestured to the couch again. "Go ahead." He sat down, looking tired and less confident. "I've been thinking. I didn't handle yesterday well. I should have talked to you privately." I almost laughed. "You think?" I asked. He winced but continued. "But I need you to understand my position. I care about you, but Ava represents a future I didn't think was possible anymore." I folded my arms. "And you couldn't decide without keeping me on standby?" "That's not fair," he said quickly. "I wasn't planning on hurting you." "But you were planning on choosing later," I said. "That part you're not denying." He hesitated. "I thought I'd figure it out before it became public." I stared at him. "So, you thought you'd quietly explore marrying another woman while still planning a wedding with me, and then pick the better option?" "That's not how it felt," he snapped. "It doesn't matter how it felt." "That's what it was," I said calmly. His jaw tightened. "You're oversimplifying." "No, I'm clarifying," I said. Silence stretched between us. Then his eyes drifted to the Christmas tree and the red envelope. "What's that?" he asked. "A Christmas card," I said lightly. "To who?" "Someone who needs to know something." He squinted and stood up, taking a step closer. "Is that an office address?" I didn't answer. His expression changed to fear. "You didn't, Noelle. Tell me you didn't." I prepared information. "I haven't mailed it yet," I said. His face went pale. "That's Ava's company." "Could be," I said. "What the hell are you doing?" "You can't do that," he demanded. "I can, and I will," I said. "You'll ruin her career," he said, his voice rising. "She proposed to an engaged man at Christmas, knowing exactly what she was doing," I replied. "She loves me," he shot back. "She loves the idea of winning," I said. "There's a difference." He grabbed the envelope from the tree and opened it. His hands started shaking. "You can't send this. This will destroy everything." "I'm not destroying anything. I'm reporting concerns." "What happens next isn't my decision," I said. "You're being vindictive," he accused. "I'm being accurate," I replied. "If you send that, I'll never forgive you," he said, his eyes blazing. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking you to move out," I said, meeting his stare. He looked at me like he didn't recognize me. "You've changed." "No, I stopped accepting disrespect quietly," I corrected. He shoved the papers back into the envelope and placed it under the tree carefully. "If you do this, you'll regret it," he said, backing towards the door. "I already regret the last 8 months." "It can't get much worse," I said. He left without slamming the door this time, leaving his key on the counter. On Monday morning, I mailed the red envelope, certified mail with a signature required. The woman at the post office glanced at the address and then at me. "Important?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Very." I went to work, but I couldn't focus. Every notification made my stomach jump. By mid-afternoon, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello," I answered. "Hi. I'm calling from the ethics compliance department at a finance company downtown. Am I speaking with Noelle?" My heart skipped a beat. "Yes. We received your letter this morning. We'd like to ask you some questions if you have time, the voice said. Now is fine, I said. They asked me to verify dates, confirm our engagement, and explain how I knew the timeline was accurate. Do you have documentation? They asked. I do. Photos, contracts, public posts, I replied. And you're certain she was actively pursuing him while he was engaged to you? Yes. He announced accepting her proposal at a family Christmas brunch. Multiple witnesses, I said. There was a brief pause. That's quite bold, the voice said. That's one word for it, I replied. We take matters like this seriously. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, they said. What happens now? I asked. We investigate, they replied. When the call ended, I sat there, staring at my phone. It was real now. Ryan texted me almost immediately. Did you really contact her job? I typed back, I sent a letter. They contacted me. Ethan, you're destroying her life, he replied. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. She tried to destroy mine. I just stopped staying quiet. He didn't respond. That night, Ava called me. We need to talk, she said, sharp and angry. No, we don't, I replied. You sent something to my company, she accused. I raised ethical concerns. Whether it's about you specifically is between you and your conscience, I said. You're trying to ruin my career, she said. I'm trying to make sure people know who they've promoted into leadership, I replied. This is because of him, she snapped. This is because you proposed to someone else's fiancé. That's not love. That's ego, I said. If I lose my job, you'll pay for it, she warned. I let out a small, humorless laugh. Welcome to adulthood, I said, and I hung up. She called 3 more times, but I didn't answer. For the first time since the Christmas brunch, I slept deeply, knowing that the waiting was over. Wednesday morning, I woke up before my alarm. The apartment felt different, lighter. Ryan's things were starting to disappear, and it was like a weight was being lifted off me. My phone rang. It was another unknown number. Good morning, Miss Noel. This is Karen from Ethics Compliance. We spoke on Monday. My stomach tightened. Yes, I remember. We're continuing our review. We need to verify a few additional points if you're available, she said. I'm available, I said. She asked again about dates, witnesses, and the public nature of our engagement. I opened my laptop and said, I can email you the venue contract, the deposit receipt, and screenshots of our announcement. That would be helpful. Please include anything that establishes timeline continuity, she said. After the call ended, I sent everything. Then I sat at my desk, feeling a sense of relief. That afternoon, Ryan texted me. They put her on leave, pending investigation. I read the message several times but didn't reply. He called me, and after letting it ring twice, I answered on the third call. What? You're happy about this, aren't you? He snapped. No, I'm not, I said calmly. She could lose everything, he said. That's not my decision. That's her company's, I replied. You sent the letter, he accused. I told the truth. There's a difference, I said. This is on you. You wanted revenge, he insisted. I wanted respect. I didn't get it, so I stopped protecting people who didn't protect me, I said. He went quiet. Then he said, she's blaming you. That makes sense. Accountability is uncomfortable, I replied. He exhaled sharply. You've ruined this. No, you ruined it when you tried to have 2 futures at once, I said, and I hung up. That evening, Lily called me. Can we talk? She asked. We met at a small cafe near my office. She was already there, holding her cup tightly. Thank you for coming, she said as I sat down. Of course, I replied. She took a deep breath. I'm not here to defend my brother. I know what he did was wrong. But I need you to understand something. Ava's been in his head for months. She'd invite him to expensive places, talk about the life they almost had, and make little comments about how you weren't ambitious enough. My jaw tightened. That doesn't excuse him, I said. No, it doesn't. But it explains him, she said. I stared out the window. She still said yes. She destroyed our engagement at a Christmas brunch, in front of his parents, I said. Lily exhaled. Fair. I'm just asking you to consider whether ruining Ava's career helps anyone. I didn't ruin her career. I reported behavior. What they found beyond that is on her, I said.